Arsenal and Chelsea Football Club met today at the Emirates for London derby, and it ended 2-0 Chelsea. And this is the match review. But before we continue, please smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and more importantly, click on the bell notification button so you don't miss anything. So, let's get into it. To review the match with me is an exceptional guest and a fellow YouTuber, Miss Melina from Miss Melina YouTube channel. Melina, welcome to Chelsea Perspective.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on your show today. I'm looking forward to, reviewing the match. I'm not happy with the result today whatsoever, but I'm so glad to be on your channel. And keep up the great work with your channel as well. I enjoy watching your videos. You're really enthusiastic, and it's a pleasure to be on here.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's great to hear that. And I can't thank you enough for finding the time to present this match review with me. So 2-0 Chelsea, not the result you expected. Nobody would want their team to lose a game at home. What went wrong? What do you think went wrong for Arsenal?
So my match prediction off the bat was a 2-1 Chelsea. I didn't think we would win the game. I wasn't confident with considering the injuries that we have and considering the COVID situation that recently broke out with, Ben White having COVID and Lacazette not being able to play, Aubameyang, not really scoring, and our strikers in general not turning up whatsoever. But what went wrong today was the fact that we should have played a 3 at the back to match Chelsea's system. And instead, we decided not to, and it really costed us the game. There was no link-up play whatsoever in that game today, and there was no sense of urgency when we tried to transition from defense to the attack. And relying on a player like Kieran Tierney to do the defending and, to stand up between our center back and the other center backs, and on top of that defend, Tierney wasn't getting much support from Bukayo Saka, and he was being doubled on. Tierney was supposed to cover our left center back and cover the center back at the same time because we were so worried about Big Rom dominating us, and Big Rom on his debut scoring against Arsenal. And when he kissed that badge in front of Arsenal fans in our own yard, it pissed me off. And rightfully so, Lukaku ripped our defensive line apart. He knew the system that we were trying to play, and he knew everything was going through Tierney. We didn't make advantage of the passes, the through balls Tierney was making through at the first 8 minutes. And it only took 15 minutes for Reece James and Lukaku to have that freedom to rip through our defense. And that's what happened.
Honestly, I appreciate your sincerity there. Honestly, it's not easy to be this open when your team lose a game. I understand that feeling, but then again, you have to be truthful. Like you said, I think it looked like Arsenal was so focused on stopping Lukaku that they didn't pay attention to the guys that were able to create the chances he had. He could have scored at least 2 goals, and yeah, that's unfortunate anyway. It happens, and that's the game for you. That's you cannot absolutely script this game. We make predictions, but at the end of the day, the players on the pitch do their work, and the better team wins. So for you, would you say it's a deserved win for Chelsea or no?
It was a much-deserved win for Chelsea. And in fact, let's be honest here, this was not even Chelsea in full force with N'Golo Kante coming off the bench, Hakim Ziyech, coming off the bench, Pulisic not even playing because of COVID. And, we didn't even need N'Golo Kante to come on because you guys did so well. We didn't see Chelsea with their stronger squad, and it felt like that intensity of the game was more like watching a training match between each other. It felt like, near that second half, Chelsea could have got 3-0, 4-0 1-0. And although that good save from Leno stopped Lukaku didn't expect that save, and neither did us Arsenal fans. We thought that was going in, and we thought we're done out here. But no, like, I think your players did really well. I was impressed with Kai Havertz today. I was a little bit disappointed by Mason Mount. You know, I expected more from Mason Mount today. I think Kai Havertz stepped up, and Azpilicueta had a good game, giving good ball throughs. And, you know, like you said, we were so focused on Big Rom that we didn't even consider, you know, the fact that Reece James is cutting through so easily, and our defense was so open that it was really easily exposed. And it was really easy for Lukaku and Reece James to get right through that. And it happened the same way in that mind game series. Kai Havertz had done the same thing, ripped our defense apart, and on that left-hand side, no one to cover them. You know, you can't expect one player like Kieran Tierney to defend, to move forward and attack if no player in our squad is going to drop deep enough to cover them. And this comes down to our manager, you know, not playing that back three that we should have. And although our players were out with COVID, some of our best players, you know, Thomas Partey, not being in that midfield, there was no link-up play, no dynamic on that pitch whatsoever. We had no game plan going forward into this game. And simply, Tactic Tuchel outclassed us. And rightfully so, you guys, hats off. But I think you guys should have done better. It should have been more than 2-0 at the way you played.
Yeah, you could say that issue of being wasteful in front of the goal still showed a bit of it. We did see a little bit of that again in this game. But I must tell you, Melina, I am absolutely amazed at your tactical knowledge of the game. And I am so happy that you're the person presenting this match review with me. Okay, if you were Mikel Arteta, what would you have done differently to ensure you didn't lose the game at home? Because the truth is, no matter how bad a team is, if you have a good manager who is tactically sound, they find a way to get a result.
So, with all due respect, if I was Mikel Arteta, I would have never accepted the Arsenal job, because this job is way too big for your shoulders. You know,
wow.
Last season you said, I didn't have a full preseason. This season, we've given you the players. The owner, although as crooked and as cheap as they are, you know, not willing to invest in the club, we've spent the most this transfer window. And, you know, has our squad really improved? Has our first 11 really improved? Not so much. We can't rely on one or two players to fix our fortunes. And, you know, what would Mikel Arteta have done different in this game? What I would have done was step away from this job when it was offered to you, because it's way too big for your shoulders. And although you worked under Pep Guardiola, this job is not something that an inexperienced novice manager comes to. We're Arsenal Football Club, and we look like a team that's declining even further and further. We look worse than Chelsea under, you know, the legend Frankie Lampard. You know, Super Frank Lampard. You guys sacked him. And Arteta, with all due respect, although he beat the top 4 teams last season and won us that FA Cup before, his time is getting short, and we're only playing 1 game a week, considering we'd have no European football. We gave you the players that you wanted. You wanted Ben White for 50 million, you got him. You wanted Odegaard back, you got him. You have a full preseason. Where's your excuses coming in? Where's the results coming in? You know, my club next week is playing Man City away, and I'm not confident whatsoever. Chelsea, we dominated them the last 2 games. We beat them. And, you know, playing against Arsenal, you guys may have been a bit worried, but you guys got that striker to bring you guys that creativity, to bring you guys that link-up play that you have. And that's why Big Rom came through for you guys. Whereas for us, our strikers aren't even turning up. You know, Aubameyang, people are saying he has a purple patch, but is it really a purple patch? Or is it, you know, the fact that he went through malaria and COVID, and even in preseason, we weren't finishing in that final third. And that's where it comes down to, you know, nobody to feed the ball through and nobody to end and finish it off.
Yeah. Again, I admire your honesty and something you said about you guys dominating last season. I'd have to be lying if I say I wasn't, I wasn't nervous before the game because Arsenal has proven that whenever they play Chelsea, they play at a different level, and that was the case last season. Even when your team had a bad run, the moment it was against us, they were perfect. They executed their game plan perfectly in one. I think you guys won both legs, right?
Yes,
So
we did beat both legs.
yeah, exactly. So before this game, I was telling people that your teams are woeful start to the season. Absentee players, are irrelevant because those are no indicators, and there are no guarantee that Chelsea will beat Arsenal because the rivalry is very powerful. But unfortunately for you guys this time, I think it comes down to how tactically sound Arteta is. It doesn't look like it's a match for Tuchel in that case. What do you think overall? Would you say it was an open game, or do you think otherwise?
I think in the first 8 minutes of that game, we were toe to toe with Chelsea. We were showing ambition on that pitch and putting up to par with the pace that Chelsea were playing. But later on, Emil Smith Rowe had hit the post. He had a really good chance. And, Saka being fouled, people thought that was a penalty. It was reviewed by VAR, but it wasn't given. I don't think that was a penalty. Watching that back, Saka did fall first and was fouled, but I think Saka actually pushed Reece James when you watch that clip back. And, I think in the second half, we showed a lot of our flaws with, Pablo Mari not staying in his position. And, that first goal that happened by Lukaku, he randomly falls down. And I think he's trying to get fouled, trying to get a card, trying to get, Lukaku carded. And, everything just went to shambles. Now, a player that stood out for me in terms of positive light in that first half and in that second half was Sambi Lukanga. Sambi Lukanga is one of our youngest signings, and he looked like our best midfielder on that pitch tonight. He looked really good with the ball. Although he's not strong physically per se, he looked really confident and relaxed. He tried to put really good ball throughs for Kieran Tierney. But yet again, it comes down to the fact that this Tierney reliance is really unhealthy for us. And, in that second half, it became a bit like a snooze fest type of game because Chelsea sat back a bit. Arsenal weren't doing anything to break Chelsea apart. And all Lukaku and Reece James were doing was taking advantage of that weaker spots, leaving our midfield exposed, leaving that left-hand side exposed. It was really easy for Chelsea to go through. But I expected more goals from Chelsea, and I didn't think we were going to, eliminate that clean sheet. I didn't see anything was going to happen in terms of positives. Even when Aubameyang was subbed on and Martinelli was subbed off, Aubameyang didn't make much of a difference. Lukaku basically said, Aubameyang, let me handle this and show you how it's done. We got bullied in our own yard, and rightfully so. We kind of deserve it. We kind of deserve it in the sense that the signings that we made, although we splashed the cash, we haven't addressed the right areas that we need. And a right back, that creativity in that midfield, Odegaard not being able to play was a huge blow for us. Thomas Partey injured, Gabriel injured. Starting off with the season with a lot of injuries, it just seems like Arsenal Football Club are cursed with some juju. That's how it felt like today.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. And unfortunately you did make a great point there on Lukanga's performance, but unfortunately for him, the team's overall poor performance overshadows everything. So, and again, you made another great point about Arsenal not addressing the areas that needs to be addressed. To me, it just seems as if they're spending money just for the sake of it and not really looking into what they need to do to make the team better. But that's, by the way, overall, who do you think deserves man of the match?
Man of the match for me has to be the guy who came back to Stamford Bridge to prove himself and come for Drogba's throne. I think he had an exceptional game today and got his first goal against Arsenal, no other than Big Rom. I was impressed by him today. He looked like a big brother on that pitch when Reece James fell down, holding that team together and wanting to be that player that keeps the dressing room together even more. It has to be Big Rom for me. I can't go with an Arsenal player. Sambi Lukanga had a good game. Smith Rowe had a good game, tried to create chances, but not worthy enough of man of the match for me.
I'm surprised you didn't even consider you a great pick, by the way. I'm surprised you didn't consider Reece James, and that's many other people did say they'd give it to Reece James because it just seemed as if there's a bit of bias because everybody who's a lot of people were waiting to see what Lukaku brings to the table and how he performs today, given that today the game was his debut, you can say his second stint at the Bridge. Why do you pick James? Don't you think he deserves at least a shout?
I completely agree with you. Reece James does deserve a shout. I want to see a lot more consistency from Reece James in your matches going forward. Now, there's always been that case of, is it show Callum Hudson-Odoi or is it Reece James that has the better ceiling? And Reece James today, he really put a lot of your fans into a new perspective. And, he really demonstrated a lot today, leading Arsenal to have to double up. You could see that from a mile away. Reece James did have that creativity and did work really well into your squad. Having those through balls and that pace on that pitch was really good. And that's something I didn't expect from him. But man of the match has to be Lukaku for me. I think Lukaku did really well. A lot of your fans questioned whether is he going to adapt quickly enough to Chelsea's system and style of play. And, although Reece James, it's neck and neck for me in terms of man of the match, but it's just Lukaku. I think a lot of your fans underestimated that signing and really wanted Haaland. But I think you have a gem in Lukaku, and Lukaku coming back to you guys on his debut, although it was mostly like a PR name, I think Lukaku has a lot to prove, and he got the right buffet today because he was hungry, boy, on that pitch.
Yeah, he was exceptional. You could argue he didn't put a foot wrong, and again, well, he deserves man of the match. I wouldn't argue that. Coming to Reece James, you could say, yeah, there were complaints about him not wanting to take on players. I think that has started. He started improving that aspect of his game under Thomas Tuchel mainly. Okay, let's go to the managers. How well would you say Tuchel did today?
I think Tuchel didn't have much to do. I kind of predicted the squad already. Hakim Ziyech wasn't going to start. N'Golo Kante got injured in training, so we knew he wouldn't start. I think, since you guys have Liverpool next at Anfield, N'Golo Kante is going to be a player who's definite start for you guys, should be nailed to start for you guys. And you guys shouldn't get carried away because this was Arsenal you played. With all due respect to my club, this was Arsenal with our so-called backup squad. And whereas Liverpool have fit players, Robertson's going to be coming back from his injury. You guys should be more focused on that game ahead. And, today, Tactic Tuchel, he didn't have much to do. He already knew that our Ben White signing wasn't going to be able to play. Thomas Partey injured, Gabriel injured, Odegaard, our latest signing, having visa issues, not being able to play. So we relied on the youngsters, and it was literally a game of chess versus checkers, and we got outclassed. And I think Tuchel looked like so calm and collected that it almost felt like you guys were having a training session or a field day at Stamford Bridge. It didn't even feel like the energy at the Emirates was the Emirates. That stadium wasn't fully packed. Our fans were walking out of that game around the 70th minute mark, not wanting to stay for the full game because of how humiliating the performance was. Josh Kroenke, the owner's son of our club, was at that game today. And still, our noise, all that noise that we made, fell on deaf ears. It didn't make an impact to Tactic Tuchel's performances. It's the same way Tactic Tuchel beat Pep in that UCL. We got tactically outclassed by you guys, but you guys didn't have much to do to begin with. You didn't play your best squad, and yet we still lost.
That's I am so surprised how you. First of all, your knowledge of the game and also your sincerity in this presentation. Before I ask you the next question, how would you rate Tuchel's overall performance against your team? 10 being the highest and 1 the least.
I'm going to go for a 6 out of 10.
Wow. Okay. But the question I wanted to ask is this. Would you say that Arteta is good enough to lead Arsenal or vice versa, and why?
Okay, so straight off the bat, I think, as I said earlier, this manager should have never got the job in the first place. He came to the job with a blank CV, and I thought, all right, let's give him time. Like the same way you guys gave Thomas Tuchel time when Lampard was sacked. Arteta has beat the top four, has won us the FA Cup, won us the Community Shield, but we finished 8th yet again. And moving forward into the season coming up with Man City, Norwich, I don't think Arteta's the man for the job. I thought last season he was fixing the defensive errors that this club had, but what I'm seeing from today and from that Brentford loss, the defending has been worse. There's no creativity in our squad. You're splashing the cash, but not identifying the right profile player. And it's really concerning moving forward, whether we're going to be like last season, finishing really below at the start of the season. And then after international break, around that November, December, Christmas time period, do we pick up the pace and try to rise above the table, or do we struggle even further? And my question back to you is, how bad is it going to get before this manager is sacked? Because there's no excuses whatsoever. And, a team that's only playing once a week has the players and has the money involved, the money spent in this transfer window so far. We haven't addressed the need for a right back, the need for another midfielder who brings creativity like a Hussam Awar. And we don't have a center forward. We don't have a DM. We're struggling to offload players. That's something that, really comes down to our board and our owners to end up bringing creativity into a squad. And for a team that finished 8th twice, we're not being able to attract big names, because who wants to come to a club that doesn't have European football, that doesn't have Champions League? And I can't see Arteta lasting much longer, but I also can't see this board having the cojones to get rid of him sooner than later before it gets worse.
Yeah, great argument right there, because the truth is, even if some argue that Arsenal is a profit-focused club, if that's the case, then you'd have to do something about the manager, because bad results aren't good for business. That's just the truth. So, but I don't think Arsenal, the culture isn't really to fire managers like Chelsea do. I don't think Arsenal that would just say they don't. In terms of dealing with managers, they like to give managers time. And I've heard somebody argue the fault that is the reason for that is the old players, the former players who are almost clamoring for managers to be given more time. Oh, the manager needs more time to do this, to do that. It takes time to build a team. I think that sentiment for me, I think it's obvious that Arteta isn't tactically sound and good enough to lead Arsenal. Do I want Arsenal to become a much better team? Yes, I do. If Arsenal becomes a much better team, then it becomes fun for everybody to watch the game, And Arsenal is also a London club. So, but that's, by the way, Melina, it's been an absolute pleasure presenting this match review with you, and I look forward to bringing you back on the channel whenever time allows for either one of the series I have on the channel, or even to talk to discuss our football in general. And please, can you please take some time, tell the viewers, my viewers, about your channel, and also let me say, whoever gets to watch this video, tell them about your channel, social media, or whatever platforms where you have presence, so that they can go check you out and also check out your content on YouTube.
Thank you so much for having me on your review today, although the results obviously didn't go the way I wanted. My channel really focuses on Fantasy Premier League content, along with Arsenal match reviews, more of a tactical breakdown. I like the tactics side of football, and if you guys want to check out my channel, it's just called Miss Melina, and I do weekly live streams as well as pre-recorded videos, and you can find me on other channels doing collaborations as well. You can find me on Twitter at Miss Melina7. And yeah, I really had a great time on this review.
Yeah, you can. You've heard Miss Melina herself, and you can also see her Twitter handle on the screen. And please make sure to go check out her channel, subscribe, comment, share the videos, because she's got some great content. And I urge you to go see it yourself, see her videos yourself, and you will thank me later. And please don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and more importantly, click on the bell notification button so you don't miss anything. Again, it is me, Caochila, and my guest, Miss Melina. Thank you so much. See you guys next time.